Hello and good to have you here. Today's video is not primarily about the diamond shield zapper, but today I'm going to take a trip to the beginnings of frequency therapy. Because if you have dealt with the topic of frequencies, you have probably also come across the name Royal Raymond Rife. He was an US-American researcher and developer and one of the founders of biofrequencies. Royal Raymond Rife was born and raised in a German-speaking area of Nebraska in 1888. After the death of his mother, only 8 months after his birth, Royal Raymond Rife was taken into care by his father's sister. Royal Rife had a wish to become a doctor at a young age, and by the age of 17, Rife's interest in bacteriology was so intense that it did not go unnoticed by Johns Hopkins University. He also studied microscopy or lens technology and was able to graduate as early as 1908. His outstanding knowledge as an optician was used to revolutionize the development of the microscope, but he was not only an innovative developer in this field. For when Rife moved to California in 1913, it was difficult to get a job in bacteriology, so he had to work as a chauffeur. But in retrospect, this turned out to be a stroke of luck. Rife's employer was very interested in his research and the two became friends. Shortly afterwards, he built a 2,600 horsepower engine for his friend's racing boats. But that wasn't all, because when these powerful engines caused problems for the ball bearings, Royal Rife simply invented an X-ray device for material analysis. This invention gave Rife lifetime payments that he could then invest in his own field of research. From Royal Rife's decades of research came two revolutionary and groundbreaking medical developments that would have the potential to change the world. Rife spent his life researching pathogenic microorganisms, identifying countless bacteria, fungi, viruses, and parasites. And he noticed that these organisms had very individual chemical compositions. Likewise, he recognized the electrical property and polarity of these. Therefore, he asked himself the question, what happens if he exposes these organisms to different frequencies? With the financial help of two industrialists, he built his first research laboratory, and by the end of the 1920s, he had built his first microscope, which was better than anything available at the time. And he had also made all the instruments himself to start his research. In the following years, he perfected everything, and he also discovered the so-called MOR, mortal oscillatory rate, which is the exact frequency that destroys a specific organism. At that time, he was mainly doing research on polio, TB, and cancer. Rife developed a total of 5 microscopes, and in 1933, he built the largest and most powerful, his universal microscope with 31,000 times resolution and 60,000 times magnification. To this day, the universal microscope can only be topped in magnification by an electron microscope. Now Royal Rife was finally able to observe even the smallest microorganisms in a living state and to pursue his second major research project, biofrequencies, in even greater detail. In the process, he also discovered the so-called polymorphism, which means that he was able to prove that cancer viruses can change their shape depending on their environment. This contradicted all the assumptions about microorganisms at the time, and this wasn't well received by everyone. He often sat at the microscope for 24 hours until he found the right frequencies for the respective organism and to study their behavior. He also managed to kill them. He was able to do this with the Rife tube he developed, a glass tube filled with plasma that could generate electromagnetic frequencies, and that after a few attempts without any side effects. Only a natural detoxification reaction of the body could occur, because when microorganisms are killed, they release toxins that they have inside and have to be removed by the body. The body needs support in this process. This time-consuming research resulted in the Rife list, a basic collection of some frequencies discovered by Rife, suitable for certain pathogens. This list was, and still is, supplemented by bioenergetic therapists, so it is not an original list by Rife. By chance, in 1932, he discovered a microorganism that he could identify as the cause of cancer and named this pathogen BX. This discovery was followed by countless experiments. He infected 400 mice with the BX virus, and they probably all developed tumors. According to reports, he subsequently cured every single animal with his frequency therapy using the plasma tube he had developed. After the successful animal experiments, in 1934, a medical friend of Rife's gave the impulse to test his discovery on humans with terminal cancer or tuberculosis. Royal Rife insisted on a medical supervisory committee consisting of 6 of the most renowned physicians. The experiment lasted 70 days, treated 16 terminal cancer and tuberculosis patients, and was supervised and supported by the University of Southern California. According to reports, at the end of the 70 days, the committee declared 14 of 16 patients completely cured, and just a few weeks later, the last 2 patients were also cured. This was probably achieved by only 2 3-minute sessions per week. According to Rife, more intensive treatment would not give the body enough time to detoxify. This incredible success was not only a breakthrough for Royal Raymond Rife, but also for the entire medical world and the whole world too. Fulfilling years now followed for him as he traveled extensively and presented his inventions, and he was initially celebrated for his successes. Other doctors then also practiced with Rife's method and were also able to show a positive result. According to lore, the success rate of treating numerous diseases was 90%. The therapy with the frequency device built by Rife in 1921 did not cause any pain and did not damage any tissue. Since that time, there have been no accidents or side effects. But as mentioned before, Rife had opponents like many other great inventors of the 19th century who were ridiculed and defamed during their lifetime. Influential men from official bodies such as the AMA tried everything to discredit him and his inventions. Unfortunately, an unlucky circumstance occurred in 1938. In 1937, the Beam Ray Company was founded and 4 partners began to sell Rife's device commercially. They probably did not check all devices according to Rife's specifications before delivery, as had been discussed in advance, and so they sometimes did not function properly, which of course annoyed some buyers. However, the doctors who worked according to Rife's method had enormous success, which also got around. Morris Fishbein, the head of the AMA at that time, tried to bind to the company through strawman, but was unsuccessful. After that, one of the company's partners took legal action against the company because he felt cheated of his shares. In 1939, a lawsuit was filed, which led to the dissolution of the company and ended Rife's intention to offer everyone a way to be cured of cancer and other diseases. All of Royal Rife's hard-earned successes were denied, doctors were forced to discontinue Rife's form of therapy, and medical journals were forbidden to report on his work. one of the 2 research laboratories fell victim to a fire. Rife was a scientist and could not comprehend the fierce attacks on him. He was a nervous wreck in court. To calm himself down, a doctor advised him to drink something to calm his nerves, which was the beginning of his alcoholism, as well as he became a chain smoker. After all this misery, Rife's life work was destroyed. In 1946, his laboratory was closed, but after 4 years of absence, he resumed his work in 1950. However, Rife's clinical trials were not repeated. In 1953, his cancer report was published. Likewise, with the technician John Crane, he developed a new type of frequency therapy device that sent electromagnetic waves into the body by means of electrodes placed on the body. Just 10 years later, the AMA also put an end to this form of therapy, and in 1960, John Crane's laboratory was searched without a warrant and documents were confiscated or destroyed. In 1966, Rife and his collaborators tried to interest the Cancer Research Institute in Philadelphia in his frequency instrument, but without success. He died in August 1971. However, his form of therapy is still used by therapists today, and even with a diamond shield professional, the known Rife frequencies can be individual, composed and applied. Products marketed today under the Rife name include the plasma lamp, beam ray devices, replica Rife microscopes and Rife machines. The next great and well-known researcher in the field of biofrequencies was Dr. Hulda Clark, who further researched the effect of frequencies on pathogenic microorganisms and developed the first zapper. But more about that in the next video. I hope you enjoyed this trip into the past as much as I did. I find the whole thing very exciting but also tragic at the same time. Just imagine how many people could have been helped if his work had not been destroyed. The info for this video is mainly from the book The Cancer Cure That Worked by Barry Lyons. If you are interested in this subject, I really recommend his books. Feel free to subscribe to the channel and drop me a line in the comments telling me what you think about it. In the info box below the video, I'll give you some more interesting links about Diamond Shield Zapper and 2 affiliate links with 5% discount for you. Awesome that you were here again. Have a great week and see you soon.